Good morning, everybody. All right, let's get you your fancy opening. We have a lot to go over. And let's get some tunes. Oh, you know what time it is. All right, time for me to try to work the camera. All right, give me 1 second. It's catchy, huh? All right, let's go. Let's go. Give me 1 second. Where am I? What am I doing? All right, let's go. Let's go. All right. First and foremost, let me get this going here. All right. I'm set. Let's do it. Where do I want to start? I want to start with this. I have all these notes that I did this morning. I was like all prepped. And now I'm looking at it and going, how do I want to do this? I want to just explain this. This is what we refer to in the industry as a liquidity grab. And that's really where I want to start. Because I don't think a lot of people saw this yesterday. And I think it's super important to get this. So what this does is it takes you through another level and then it grabs everything down there. This is why I always say like wicks or price rejection. And so what you did was you came below that wick, grabbed everything you could, and then in the face, and this basically went in everybody's face. Now, why this is important, and I'm going to show you this with the magnet, but what we're going to do is we're going to drop that to here. And I just want to show you something. So you see that area? So what you did yesterday, you had one close in this entire market that was greater than that. So I'm just going to show it to you so you can see it. And why this is important is because it's telling you that the market wants to go higher, despite all the news and this and that and, you know, whatever. I'm so over all of it. But if you look at this, it's telling you that you want to go higher. The other thing is pattern recognition. If you've been in the community for some time, if you're trying to get in the community, just stay on the wait list. We should have another batch going out shortly. But if I look here up, right, I tend to look at this. The real pattern's up, down, 1, 2, 3, up, and it's really connected, but you'll see them. And when you start to understand that whether it's 1 or 2 or 1, 2, 3 down, then 1 up or 1, 2 up, it's the same thing over and over again, just different variations of it, right? And once you get that, it's the highest degree probability pattern in candlesticks, period. Nothing's even close to it. So, but what you have here is you have this liquidity grab, and then besides that liquidity grab, you're closed over these three. And I think that's really important to get. So when we're looking at the market this morning, you know, we're not just looking at something where, okay, well, this was our level and then we got right to it and then we hit it and then we bounced off, yada, yada, yada. It's actually, no, what we did was we grabbed everything that we freaking could and then we shoved it in their face. Now, a lot of people will say, well, you didn't have this kind of volume. That's very true. You didn't. I don't really care. You know, and to me, I think that's one of the things that people really lose on is not understanding how to really address volume and not look at this as more exhaustive volume where it's done versus it's not done. And I just want to take a second to go through this because I think it's super important and there's really a lesson here. And you're like, oh God, don't give me a lesson, Boomer. Just show me what you're looking at. But you see how here the red is higher than the green and you went higher anyway? See how the red is higher than the green and it bottomed anyway? See how the red is higher than the green and you bottomed anyway? See how the red is higher than the green and you bottomed anyway? See how the red is higher than the green? Say it with me, right? It doesn't matter. So this nonsense that I need this to be over there is like, you know, basement hot pocket BS Twitter talk. It doesn't, right? It just doesn't. It's cool when it does. Sure, be cool if you did, but you don't have to, right? So like even here, when you go back to it, the red was higher than the green. So people are like, well, what about? I don't know. I didn't think he was going to show up with a piece of cardboard and tell everyone they had to pay $2,000, you know, in pocket money and, you know, 200% in tariffs that day. I didn't know. I didn't have that on my bingo card. I don't think anybody did. Him and his cardboard. So when we have something like this, just understand that this is telling you that that's a liquidity grab, right? And I think that's really important for people to get. Whether you like what's going on or tariff this and geopolitical that, this is what we have. Or we're gonna wait on the data because the data is corrupt. Okay, but if no matter what suck salad we're getting right now, this is what happened. And so we're back to this range. And now we have to see if we're going to break out of that range or not. So when we drop this like it's hot, the kids do say that. I asked my son last night. And we pull this up, you know, we can look at that level and say, all right, well, maybe we don't fully break out, right? And maybe we get to that range, right? And then we have this little drop, this little suck salad. But that's a fair assessment of what we have going on. Now, there's no real reason for me to put VWAPs anywhere. I don't need to VWAP all over myself with that chart, but you get it, right? I mean, you see the levels, and I think this is really important for us to understand and for us to get. And I can't stress that enough. I really think that understanding those levels is going to be extremely helpful. So if I take a look at NQ, see the levels. Now let's go to this. So we still have this peak here, right? All right. So let's go leave those levels on for a second. And then what we're going to do is the same thing that you see me do 100 times. And the reason I keep doing this over and over again is so you guys get it. I think I saw Mon in the room. What's up, Mon? And so you're getting right to this level, and then you're going here and then here, and let's just talk about this. So you're trying to get through that again, and you're not able to, right? You all see that. Look at it. So when you see that, what do you do with it? You just understand that it's there, and you're fighting it again, and you try to get through it. What don't I like? I really don't like if I had to tell you what I really don't like, I don't like when these two are that close together. Because if you crack here and the value highs here and the point of controls here, it gets ugly. And that's why these drops are so vicious, right? But you came right down to the value low area. And then from there, you can see what happened. So it is what it is. And we're trying to get through it right now. And we'll see how that goes. But that's really, that's where my head is with it. And I don't really think there's much more for me to say or do about it. So I really like what I'm seeing here. I think it could be better. You know, if you guys are using one of those tools I gave you, and I'll just draw it out real quick so you guys can do that tool for yourself. It's a great tool. You can actually turn it into an indicator. I should probably really turn it into an indicator. And then from there, what I'd like to do with that, give me 1 second here because I think I screwed up. I know everyone's shocked. And we have to go through silver and gold. But I'll do the indicator real quick so you guys can do it for yourselves. But all you're doing is taking S5. Come on, use your words and your letters. S5 FI, ND FI. You're going here. Switch to daily. And you can make this for yourself and turn it into an indicator. And one of the things that we talked about was when does the market bottom, right? So if we did this, turned it into a line. And then we just did the simplest thing of, let's just take the, take the Qs. And then we'll take the Qs and we'll throw it up top for a second. And what I should do is just set this up. New pane above. And we'll just leave it here for a second so you can see it. And what you'll note is whenever this peaks, that's definitely marking a bottom. It might not be like a thematic bottom like that, or whenever it bottoms and then rises, it marks a top. Right? Rises, it's marking a top. Reversal, and you say it. So like you don't really want to sleep on when these reverse because they do tend to mark an area. And it's more about the pattern than anything else because you don't know the breadth and why the breadth is moving the way that it is. But it does make a difference. So, you know, and there it is. It's S5 FI and it's ND FI. And you guys can just do it for yourself. Like it's no super secret thing. It is what it is. And it's extremely helpful to you guys to kind of say, hey, where am I in the cycle? You know, so like when you start to peak here or peak, you're like, oh, we're actually bottoming, or, oh, we actually bottomed, or, oh, we actually bottomed. You know, it's extremely helpful from that standpoint. So please keep that in mind. Give me 1 sec here. I got to do something, but there's a lot that I'd like to go over. I think the best thing for me to do is to start with, what are we seeing in silver with this move? It's funny because I'm actually short, but I bought calls against it. But it looks like the calls are just going to rip this morning, which is cool. And then I'll go from there. Let me just remind. So my mind. So if I look at silver, you're flipping, but this is talk about the 55s here. I don't know that it's over. I know that what tends to happen with this particular pattern is people just like, oh, this is where I need to get in. And no, it's not. So like when you see this pattern, I just want to show the pattern for a second. So here's RGTI. And I know it's not the same thing, but patterns are patterns. So when you break down like something like this, and I'll get rid of these moving averages, but when you break down like this, you're going to have some regression to a mean. And then what tends to happen is this forms some kind of bear flag or bear pendant, and then you regress back to that level. So that's pretty much what's going on here, in my opinion. You're starting that flag where you're going to rally up and then you're going to build. Very few charts just go, oh, that was a mistake and we're back. So understand that. That's really where my head is this morning with that, just so you understand it. So what does that mean? I actually think the trade personally is going to be doing this is just where my head is just the miners. I really do. 38.2 is where you got to. It's that 89 level, and then you're rejecting a little bit. Something else that's always fun is to take the peak and drop it there and just see where you're at. We can always just drop that to a 5 and make sure that we're on there perfectly, and we're not. So then we'll get rid of it, remove it. Okay. All right, we're going to play games today. And so that's on there perfectly. And then what you do is from that peak is just drop the fibs so you can see the levels, and that's going to take you a little bit tighter, isn't it? Make sure we're right. So that's going to take it a little bit tighter. So this is going to be a big area for silver. So when you see stuff like this, it's like, and let's just take that peak and drop it like it's hot again. So when you see that kind of stuff, right? And that's where point of control is. So, you're probably not getting through 100. And I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but like to me, once I start getting into this 91, 93 area, you have some real issues, like real issues that you're going to have to deal with. So I would watch that very, very closely. 91 to 93, like that pocket is going to be something that you're really going to want to pay attention to. I don't know what that's going to do. Why are you giving me those? Is that the same? Am I going to click the same thing and get the same thing again and then wonder why I got the same thing? Where's my circle? So that whole area, like right there, yay, I'd watch that area. I think that this is where it runs into problems. The idea that everybody's just going to be like, oh, we need to buy silver. I don't think so. But you're talking to somebody who's short, but I'm hedged against it as well. And I think that's important. I think if you're long-term and you're looking at this, I think the mistake so far that I made was not start buying gold or NEM already. I think if I had to say like, hey, if someone was like, hey, what did you do wrong? It was not starting on the gold side of this trade. That's for sure. Because central banks are not looking and going, oh, look how cheap silver is. And you got a clear shot here, man. This is a way different chart than silver. Way different chart than silver. And I think a lot of it is going to be more of a slow, steady move than anything else. And if I just drop the simple things on here, I think that's the peak. It's going to roughly take you into the same area, right? That 5 handle where it starts getting kind of goofy. But I really think if you look at this, if you came down to like 48.50, you probably are going to hold a little bit better than silver. That's where my head is, but we'll see. And I just think that makes a little more sense. Also, I'd be looking at the miners left and right. I really do. Like, I really love that this stuff got blown up. I really like it a lot. Like, I think it's perfect. Maybe I missed it. I'm short so much crap right now. I'm missing a lot of things on the long side, but I'm doing really well on the short side. And on the long side, basically just winning all day long. All right, let's get to it. Let's take some questions. What time is it? Are you done? Did you tell me you're done? All right, cool. I am working on trying to get more people in, but it's a slow process right now. 2 Fed speakers, Iran storm clouds. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Western Digital speaks today, John. SanDisk is by default is becoming my largest position just because it's filled with so much awesomeness every single day. And there's really not much for me to do or to say about it. So it is what it is. I'm not doing anything with them. I think that they are completely mispriced. I've been saying this for some time. I've been saying it for a very long time, not only in the community, but also publicly. I mean, there's not really much to say. These guys, they're way off on pricing. That conference today at 9:30 should be really good for it. I fully expect one day to come in and be down $100, and then everyone thinks it's over again. And it is what it is. You know what it reminds me a lot of? It reminds me a lot of this. I was thinking about, like, what does this remind me of? It reminds me a lot of this chart where people didn't really get it. And then like, oh, I get it. And it's just a nightmare to trade, but you want to own it. So I think there's something to that. Let's go through some of these. What's up, JL? Yeah, I think that the AVGO, I think that people are looking at this and going, well, what do I care about interconnectivity? And they're caring not about the interconnectivity as much because they're looking at some other stuff, right? So what are they looking at that's the problem? What's the problem that they're looking at, that they're running into an issue? And I think a lot of that issue, or a lot of the problem that they're running into, is pretty simple. They're looking at the cancellations on the data center side. And I don't think that that's wrong. I think a lot of these people are looking at data centers like you're going to get cancellations. If you have a long-term outlook, there's very little to do here, but that's not where all the money's going. It's all going into building out the storage and memory right now. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. CEG to me has just been an
US for market movers,
okay. All right.
ABM,
All right.
PayPal,
All right.
Pfizer,
So the only one I'm missing there is Eaton, and well, I'm missing a couple of those, but let's get rid of that. So I don't mind the computer voice. I actually like the computer voice better. We should do that. Hold on. I got to write a note. I got to make a note to myself because I'm building something out. All right. So I wonder about this because I think that when I look at these things, yeah, it seems like these are dead. I think they're dead. I think they're going after the other stuff. I don't know. I don't think I'd touch it right now. I think I'd avoid it, man. USAR and all this stuff, I wouldn't go near it with 10-foot pole. I really wouldn't. There's some other names out there that I think people are right about. I think, and I've been talking to this guy about this one. I think he's right. The more I look at it, but also like PPTA, when it fell apart, like it just doesn't make sense to me because it's not like we're swimming in antimonium. There's certain things here that are going on that are not going to change. And I think that that's really how we have to, how we have to look at this. And I think that's super important for us to understand. So, we'll get there. We're getting there. What else do I have here? Let me just go see something. Oh, you're going to bid up and then it might roll over on that. All right. So what else do I have here? I want to go over. I think that they're on point, but you need 2 years to get up to speed. Like this is really what I've been waiting for with them. And I have to really read it because this could be absolutely freaking huge, but I really got to go through it and understand it before I can comment on it. My sense of it is that today's video watch list earnings this week. I don't know. I feel like I could make this so much better. Failed to load. Give me 1 second, please. I'm sorry. I forgot to do something this morning. I know you guys are shocked. Okay. So if we look at something like an Intel, and let's go see if we can find this real quick and go through it together. I love when we can do stuff together. Because it's not getting picked up. And that in and of itself is super interesting because it's not getting picked up the same way that I think it should be getting picked up. So let's get to it. So Intel ambitions back in the spotlight, says TrendForce. Intel Panther Lake Ultra Review. Intel memory ambitions back in the spotlights. This is from TrendForce, right? That's saying this. Okay. So SoftBank and Intel sign pact on next gen memory technology. SoftBank unit Intel to collaborate on next gen. Intel launches new yada, yada, yada. All right. So let's go and see if we can just dig into this a little bit. I won't spend a lot of time on it, but I do think it's super important. AMD rises ahead of earnings. Okay. Intel teams up. All right. A unit of SoftBank teaming up with Intel develop cutting edge memory. All right. A Japanese telecom said Tuesday, subsidiary, whatever. Could be familiar. SoftBank plans to invest up to $3 billion or $19 million. Okay. Are you joking? Okay. According to people, SoftBank plans to invest $19 million in 2 years to advance the project. So they're putting $19 million into developing memory. Like, I don't even have words. Not billion, million. Is it a typo? What are they going to do? Buy the paper clips? It seems like do you want the truth on it? Let me just get back to it. It seems like they're painting the tape. We're going to make a prototype. And we're going to put $19 million into a prototype. Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting that they're doing it. I think that they should be out there trying to commoditize memory. But that doesn't really seem like something I'd be rushing into. I mean, like, that's like me and my buddy next door are going to get into it. Become crypto miners. I'm actually exhausted after reading that. Let me go to this start thing. Sorry, buddy. Well, I think you got to view that differently, Tim, right? You have to view that differently. So I think that there's IGV's in trouble, right? So I'll tell you how I'm viewing it, but again, information education, you should do what you're comfortable with. So this looks like, a dumpster fire floating down the river with a bunch of raccoons in it, right? It's gross. Like, if gross was a chart, that's what it would look like. Now, the thing here is that Microsoft is just going to be in a lot of issues because of, and I'm not going to give you the whole pitch. Microsoft's relationship with OpenAI has been killing it since $550. And I think what is happening here is that people are finally getting it, right? And it's the OpenAI. Oracle came out and said, oh, we're going to issue 100 something or other. Okay, whatever that is. 100 million shares. Okay, I don't know why people thought it wasn't going to price in the whole. You could go out and buy 100 million shares of Oracle in the market. You can just go out and buy it. So I don't know why people thought it wasn't going to price in the whole. I think it's good that they affirmed the rating, but candidly, I think it's going to put more pressure on it than everything, because you have to find the price point. Like, where are they going to do the secondary at? So there's reasons for those two to drop because of their relationship, Tim, with OpenAI, right? That's very different than like PLTR, who has zero relationship, came out, beat earnings, and raised guidance. And it was a really good call. I actually tried to day trade on it last night, just didn't work. I lost like $2. And then, of course, it reversed. And I think what's interesting about PLTR, might as well just tie it all together and make it one big trip. When we look at that, you have actual market structure here. And so you actually had to break out, have a call, the call go well, they bought more. Overnight, people got time to digest the call. Asia stepped in and they bought. Now, what it does today, I don't know. So do I sell the news on PLTR? I don't usually like shorting companies that beat and exceed expectations. I think that I just don't like doing it. I think your money's spent in better places. That said, you're very, very expensive. You have if you fail here, that's a big fail. But the structure of like the right shoulder here versus the left shoulder, like if this breaks, it's going to really break. But I actually think that you're better off going at it. Like, this is how I'm approaching it this morning, is going, okay, so PLTR, right. I forget what percent. I can go to my notes real quick. I'll tell you in a minute. So PLTR is 8.4% of IGV, right? So IGV is going to be overinflated this morning, bidding up or flat. And the rest is Microsoft, Salesforce, Oracle, Intuit, AppLovin. So I think you're better off taking advantage of the PLTR bump and like shorting IGV, Microsoft, and Oracle on it than shorting PLTR. That's where my head is. I mean, you should do what you're comfortable with. But when I think about it, I think that makes more sense to me, Tim. Hopefully that helps. You understand where my head is. Light, I like a lot. This XPO name, I dig. I read that guy's book, really good book. It's called, I think it's Brad Jacobs, How to Make a Few $1 Billion. It's a really good book. I don't know. You're going to stay up with the way that this is going with oil right now? I don't know. Swing trading's working much better now. Teradyne crushed. Their earnings were fantastic. The thing that got me about Teradyne, the bigger concern I had with Teradyne, candidly, is just I had no market structure last night. I'll show you what I mean by that. So like what bothered me, and if you're in the room, you already heard this talk this morning, was everything was a 5-minute bar. And then I'm like, there's nothing up here. So you see when like this starts to crack, right? ES to you offer U.S. critical minerals partnership to counter China. Oh, that's interesting. But you see how like you're starting to crack. There's no market structure here. So what I was getting at this morning. Oh, that's interesting. Give me 1 second. I didn't know they did that. Anyone know that they did same day? Like you buy your car and then you get it the same day? Like they bring it to you? That's kind of pretty cool. They started that. Wow. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I think you got to really think about that. You got to be careful of that with the market structure, Dana. If that makes sense to you. Hopefully that makes sense. I think the earnings were fantastic. WDC is going to crush today. Why wouldn't they buy their own stock back? Just more awesomeness. IDR. Bum, 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 bum. PayPal call ended. I don't like that chart at all. I don't know anything about the company. I just don't like the chart. Good morning from Toronto. Good morning from Miami. I just had a friend, a really good friend that was in Toronto. They loved it. Beautiful views. Hold on 1 second. Just I'm seeing it. Like I read the news while we talk sometimes. PRLD. All right. But I'm going to have to jump here in a minute, guys. Good morning from the Upper East Side. Good morning from Miami. I'm going to be up there in March, it looks like. Microsoft's in a lot of trouble. What's up, Troy? What's up, Friday? Covered that. What's going on, Goof? It's the best talk, isn't it? What's up, Albino? Did I see you in the room today talking about when do people sell SanDisk? I'm like, sacrilege. Why is he being so aggressive? Hi, Grace. Yeah, no one saw that coming. I don't think anyone saw him because he was going to be the guy that fixed it. I will say, as someone that uses it for business purposes, under him, it's gotten a lot better. I think it's a lot better and easier to use and not as like, everything else. But, it is what it is. I mean, people are looking at the stock on how you're going to turn this around. I think there's a lot of ways they could turn it around, but, it's not my thing. I saw this. I don't know that that's a textbook cup and handle. So I have a pattern called devil horns. It's not in any book, and you're pretty much looking at it. So I'd be super careful there. The only thing you have going for you is that, if you look at this, you still have the divergence. It's just not as great. But Parks chief Josh Damaro is going to take over Iger's position. I don't know if that's good or bad, guys. So yeah, like this isn't really great. But I have this pattern. It's literally called devil horns, and that's pretty darn close to it. It's not exact. You don't want to play with it. So you're getting there, but it's not perfect. I'm just going to leave it at that. I would find something. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Maybe that turns into a handle, or maybe that, turns into a shard of glass that cuts your hand. This is so interesting to me because I actually think the NBIS should go higher. But you're not. And so I like the IREN a lot. I really feel like I missed the turn, so I'm just going to stay out of the way. I really don't. Oil looks great. Baba, I'm short. It's not going great. I've been short for months. It's just exhausting, honestly. Oracle, Ryan, you're talking to someone that owns Oracle for years. I'm net shorted in the trading account, and the long-term account. I haven't done anything. My thought is that you're going to have to get some kind of change in policy, is where I think it's going, but I think you're heading to like 118. At 118, I'll start looking at more, and then it starts going. And then what I like to do with these is this, and just go to like where the 200-week moving average is, and that gets me to like 138. That's like really where I'll start looking. Very rarely am I going to stay short something if it gets to like the 200-day moving average. Okay. All right. Let's not fight. So if I can get there, that's what I'm looking for. Like that's really like, it's very rare that I'm going to stay short something that runs into its 200-week moving average. It's really, really rare that I'm going to do that. I'm more a net buyer in there, but I think that, that could keep going. Excel and GME. All right. Went over that. NVIDIA, it's just sideways until then. Yeah, I can look at copper. I just think it's painting the tape. I actually thought copper made the most sense to buy on the dip, but I don't know that you'd have to get overly involved here. It depends on what your structure is. If your structure is like you want to day trade this stuff, it's definitely silver's where all the cool kids are. But I will say that I like gold the best because you're just going to have that relationship change drastically. So I think that's really good. Correct. What do you got there? PLXS. Let's take PLXS. I have no idea what they do, bro. I don't have a clue. I mean, it's very hard for me to talk about it. It's way overextended for me. I have no idea what they do. So it's not something that I pay attention to. Maybe it's a call. You know, the thing with copper is like, one, you're overextended, right? But like the FCX, like I really like this. But I mean, I'm just going to tell you point blank. I completely, like when I look back at this, I really when you blew up here, I'm like, God, this is such a buy. And then I had like one of those talks with myself where like, I'm not a value investor. It's not going to work, blah, blah, blah. And this is why I compartmentalize accounts, because I learned a long time ago that I don't have patience. So compartmentalizing that in another account where I never look at it is the right move for me. I didn't do that, by the way, but that's always the right move for me. You have to look at this and go like, where are we going? Like, where's copper going? I don't see how nationalization of assets of critical minerals goes away. Like no matter what happens for midterms, I don't see how that's going to go away. You know what I mean? Because I keep saying like, what's the thing that's going to change the critical mineral policy? I don't see it, man. You know, here's the new boss, same as the old boss. Like, what's it matter? Like, what's it really matter? I mean, people act like this guy's like a pope. Like he has to go and sit there and go to everybody else and go, hey guys, what do you guys think of, you know, what do you think of, you know, rates right now? And then they all vote. It's not like he gets, it's not like one ring to rule them all. I guess I sound like a little bit like a Hobbit nerd, but I am. But do you know what I mean? So it's like they all have to vote. So everyone's like, well, you know, he could sway them. Sure, he can sway them, but I think people put way too much in this. Up 25 basis points, down 25 basis points. You know, I heard this guy today, and he nailed it because he's like, he's an economic guy. He was on, if you could find it, I guess it was 7 o'clock when I was coming back from the gym. So you could probably find it on Bloomberg Live on YouTube around 7 o'clock. He was talking about the thing that no one's paying attention to is increased productivity is going up. And I just started laughing because I've been talking to like yammering on like old man shake his hand at the clouds, telling people in the community, like people are missing this. They're not getting the fact that this is where it's going. So, you know, it is what it is. But increased productivity, it's the 90s, it's the 60s. So that's where this is all going. So we'll see. There's no. So I have 7 likes. If I have 7 likes, I'm never doing this again. If I go right now and I have 7 likes, you guys are never getting this again. Let me go check my video. Could you imagine this is going to be the last one? That would make me so sad. Who doesn't like me? I got a lot of likes. I got 110. I think it updates late, Mon. I've got 108 of them. We almost had. All right, I'm out. I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day. As I tell my son, make good choices, trade to win. See ya.